"Clock out, Mike, you're done after today." That's all my boss said, no warning, no handshake, just 26 years gone with a clipboard and a shrug. My name's Mike Lawson, foreman at Hensley Mechanical. I poured my first slab for this company in '97, back when the only thing digital on site was a wristwatch. I showed up before sunrise 6 days a week for 2.5 decades, trained 3 generations of apprentices, caught safety issues before OSHA did. When site deadlines got tight, I slept in my truck. And now they were cutting me like some temp who showed up late. No explanation, no thank you. Just clean out your gang box. So I did, quietly. But I wasn't the only one leaving the site that day. Something else was coming with me. I packed slow, let them watch. Framed photo of my wife from our first anniversary, a union pin I hadn't worn since the last walkout, and a flash drive taped under my tool chest. On it, blueprint archives, safety audits, and material logs from the last 10 years. Nobody ever asked for them, but I kept them, because after a scaffolding collapse back in 2011, I stopped trusting paper trails. As I tossed the last hard hat into the back of my truck, I caught the new guy, Tyler, watching me. Kid didn't say a word, just nodded. He knew. That night I cracked a beer in the garage and pulled up the files. One folder stood out. Richland Middle School, final POs. But something wasn't right. Copper wire listed twice, same day, double the footage, approved by Jim Hollis, my boss. I knew every inch of that site. We never installed that much wire, not even close. So where did the invoice go? I traced the vendor. Copperwood Supply LLC. Never delivered to our yard. Never appeared on a single delivery manifest. Filed to a P.O. box in Broken Arrow, registered to Kyle Hollis, Jim's nephew, fake vendor, fake invoices, real money. I checked another project, same deal. Then another, sealant, rebar, conduit, all delivered, none ever used. They'd been funneling money for years, and the signatures, all carefully kept off the official logs I maintained, because Jim thought I was just a foreman, but I was the one who kept the real records. That night I dug deeper, opened an old USB labeled hazardback_2016. Inside were scanned PDFs of safety inspections I personally signed off. And there it was, Copperwood parts logged as installed. On systems I knew we replaced with cheaper local stock. They weren't just stealing, they were falsifying state inspections, which meant liability if anything failed, which meant jail time. And I had proof. I stared at the screen for a long time, then I opened a blank file, typed 6 words. State Inspector, anonymous report attached. I didn't raise my voice. I raised the alarm. I sat with it overnight, could have gone straight to the papers or the union. Could have walked back onto that site with copies for every crew lead. But that's not how I work. I don't blow torches. I light fuses. So the next morning I made coffee, opened my laptop, pulled up every file with Copperwood's name on it, 3 projects, 6 POs, 0 deliveries. Then I drafted an anonymous email, subject, falsified state compliance, urgent review, attached all the proof, and sent it straight to the State Building Safety Division. I used an old testing account from back when we were migrating to digital logs, untraceable. Then I shut the laptop and waited. Didn't tell June. Didn't say a word. I just went to the porch, drank slow, watched the neighborhood come alive like it was any other Wednesday. By 10:20 I got my answer. 3 state trucks rolled through the south gate, jackets with yellow letters, hard hats, clipboards, safety inspector. A few guys dropped their tools right then and there. Jim strutted up to them like nothing was wrong. His smile was too wide. One inspector held up a folder. I could tell from 40 feet away. It said Copperwood Supply. That wiped the grin off his face. I finished my coffee and went back inside to print the next stack of receipts. By noon, the job site had ground to a crawl. Inspectors had split into teams: electrical, structural, materials. They started pulling parts lists, cross-checking against inventory logs. But here's the kicker. Those logs didn't match the receipts, because the receipts were never real. I knew it. Jim knew it. But the guys running pipe, hanging duct, laying conduit, they were just finding out now. By 12:30, word spread fast. The HVAC sub packed up and left, said their contract didn't cover state-level nonsense. Concrete crew went on break and didn't come back. And Jim, he stopped smiling. He started pacing. Tried calling the vendor contact for Copperwood. No answer. Because there was no real Copperwood contact. Just a mailbox. Just a name tied to his nephew. By 1 p.m., the project manager called for an emergency all-hands meeting. I wasn't there, but I heard from Tyler, the kid I trained, right after. Text came in like this. Inspectors found major inconsistencies. Jim looks pale. You had something to do with this? I didn't reply. Didn't have to. That same hour, the company's regional VP arrived on site, unannounced. That never happens unless someone upstairs smells smoke. By Thursday morning, the emails started. First from Rachel in HR. Hi, Mike. We're aware of some concerns raised externally. If you've been contacted by anyone, please direct them to legal. I ignored it. By noon, I got a call from an unknown number. Didn't answer. Voicemail. Mike, this is Jim. We need to talk. There's confusion. Call me. Confusion? He signed the POS himself, used his nephew's name to build a fake vendor, paid out real money for materials we never received. There was no confusion. There was just a paper trail. And I wasn't the one buried in it. At 3 o'clock, I got a second call, this time from corporate, regional legal officer. Wanted to meet informally. Said it was about alignment. I didn't respond. Instead, I texted Tyler, if they ask you questions, just tell the truth. Nothing else. He replied, Jim's off the schedule. Everyone's whispering. Something's up. I knew exactly what was up. The state had launched a formal audit, and they were matching fake invoices to real project files. Files I still had backed up, and one name kept showing up across all of them. Jim Hollis. Friday morning, June looked up from her phone. Your name's going around online, she said. Some construction blog mentioned Hensley, said inspectors shut down 2 sites. I nodded. That meant they were tracing Copperwood's POs across the region, which also meant this wasn't just a site issue anymore, it was company-wide. I checked my email, finally. 3 new messages, one from HR, one from legal, and one from David Lynn, a board member I hadn't heard from in over a decade. He and I worked together during the Lincoln West fire retrofit, when nobody else could figure out the air duct layout. His message was short. Mike, we need to talk. You always had the cleanest records. So I called. He answered on the second ring. You really pulled the pin, huh? He said, half laughing. You already know what they were doing? Enough. The board's getting nervous. Legal's scrambling. Jim's been suspended. They'll want to settle, I said. Maybe, he replied. But I want something better. That's when he asked me to send him everything. I already had the flash drive ready. One condition, I said. I don't want my job back. What do you want then? I want oversight. Over what? Everything. By Monday morning, the storm had moved upstairs. Jim was out. Official word. Administrative leave. Unofficially, he was the fall guy. But he wasn't the only name in those files. The Copperwood payments weren't just signed off by Jim. They were approved by finance, specifically Regional Controller Melissa Keene. I remembered her, liked spreadsheets more than steel. She'd flagged my crew's overtime budget 5 years ago, but apparently didn't blink at $90,000 in missing conduits. So I included that in the folder, every invoice, every signature, every missing item, and the emails, the ones where Jim thanked Melissa for pushing things through quietly. That part wasn't on company servers. It was from a private account Jim accidentally used once when forwarding shift schedules. I'd saved it, and now it was Exhibit A. I delivered everything to David in a sealed envelope and a flash drive. "It's all there," I said. "They used fake deliveries to steal real money, and someone in finance helped them do it." He didn't say much, just nodded. "There's a board session Wednesday," he told me. "This is going straight to audit, legal, and compliance." "Good," I said, "then I'll let the rest collapse on its own." Because I'd done my job, now it was time to watch theirs. By Wednesday afternoon, it was official. Melissa Keene was no longer with the company. No press release, no farewell email. Just gone. The board had reviewed the documents, and according to David, the reaction was tense. They'd expected fraud. They hadn't expected proof. Not like this. Invoices, approval chains, private emails, cross-referenced by project, time, and vendor, all packaged with color-coded tabs. I'd spent my weekend organizing it like a final job report, because that's what it was. My last build. Except this time I wasn't fixing ductwork. I was tearing out rot. Thursday morning I got a call from a number I didn't recognize. This one I picked up. "Mr. Lawson, this is Veronica Blake. I represent the audit committee." "That's a new one," I said. "We'd like to speak with you in person. Today." "Why?" "To ask what it would take to ensure your continued cooperation." I paused, then gave her the same answer I gave David. "I don't want a paycheck. I want eyes on every site. I want access, and I want to report directly to the board." Silence. "That's highly unusual," she said. "So is signing off on fake rebar shipments," I replied. "I'm not asking." Then I hung up. By Friday, they made it official. David called just after 9 a.m. "The board met this morning," he said. "They're creating a new role, temporary for now. Site Oversight Director. Reports directly to us." "Who's filling it?" "We'd like it to be you." I didn't answer right away. He added, "It comes with full audit authority, access to all site records, and control over field compliance teams." "Can I hire who I want?" "Yes." "Can I fire who I want?" "If the records support it, yes, and then send it over." That afternoon I got the contract, 6 figures. No non-disclosure clause, no strings, just trust. They didn't want another scandal, and I was the only one who'd seen the cracks before the collapse. At 4 p.m., Rachel from HR called again. "Mike, congratulations. They say the board's taking this seriously." They didn't have a choice. She didn't argue. Jim was gone. Melissa gone. Half the finance team under review. Every Copperwood-linked invoice flagged across 5 states. And me? I wasn't back on the job site. I was standing above it. Blueprints in one hand, pen in the other. Monday morning I walked into Hensley's regional office. First time in a button-down in 20 years. Tyler met me at the door. Didn't say much, just nodded. He already knew. The receptionist stood up when I walked in. "Mr. Lawson, boardroom's on the 2nd floor." Not Mike, not Foreman. "Mr. Lawson." I stepped into the elevator, watched the numbers climb. This time I wasn't heading to the site trailer. I was going straight to the top. Inside the boardroom, a stack of reports waited for me. Inspection findings, invoice audits, legal summaries. Veronica from Audit Committee looked up. "Welcome, Director." I nodded once and opened the first file. Copperwood wasn't the only ghost vendor. There were others, smaller but patterned, materials never delivered, approvals signed off by people no longer with the company. And behind each one, a project that had gone over budget. It would take months to clean. But I'd done worse with less. Later that day, I walked through the main site yard. Tools still clanging, radios still humming. But when I passed, the guys didn't look away. They stood straighter. Some nodded. A few even smiled. They knew what happened and they knew who stopped it. By the end of the week, I'd reviewed 8 active projects. 5 had questionable vendors. 3 had incomplete safety logs. 0 had proper material verification. It wasn't just fraud. It was negligence. And it was baked into the system. So I started changing the system. First thing I did, put Tyler in charge of field reports. The kid noticed details, stayed quiet, and listened. He reminded me of myself, just with better boots. Second thing, I called every old-timer I trusted, the ones who'd been pushed out or buried under middle management. "We're doing this different," I told them. "No more signing off just to meet a deadline. If something doesn't feel right, flag it. No consequences." "You answer to me now," they all said the same thing. Took long enough. HR didn't love it. Finance hated it. But the board, they backed me. Because after $4.7 million in buried fraud, they were done listening to titles. They wanted results. And results came from people with dirt under their nails, not clean spreadsheets. 6 months later, the company looked different. Clean books, real vendors, and for the first time in years, no fake invoices, no buried problems. Jim took a deal, turned over emails, got 2 years probation and a lifetime ban from holding a contractor's license. Melissa disappeared into legal arbitration, never resurfaced. Corporate didn't hold a press conference. But they didn't need to. Word traveled faster through job sites than any press release ever could. Tyler got promoted again, now runs operations across 3 regions. I still check his reports, still circle errors in red, old habits. Last week, I walked past the break area at one of the sites, heard someone say, "You know why this place didn't burn down like the others? Because Lawson's upstairs now." I kept walking, didn't say a word. I didn't need to. Back home, June asked if I missed the field. "Sometimes," I said. "But it's not about laying concrete anymore. It's about making sure no one's covering it up when they crack it." She smiled. "So you're the inspector now?" "No," I said. "I'm just the guy who finally got to build something right." And this time, they knew not to leave my name off the blueprints.